I'm hoping Facebook's working, and it is. Hi.
Hello.
I'm back talking to another one of my friends about art for Art History Society. So welcome to anyone that's never been on the society page before, or only really knows us because of this one. I'm hoping you've bullied some people into watching this because we'll have no viewers otherwise.
I just trust my followers.
You trust your fans. So I'm Molly. Hi. You've probably seen my face all over the society pages. I did a takeover last week. I'm been joined today by my lovely friend Priya.
Hello.
This is Priya Oades, horse girl at heart, founder of Strict Sets, which is a Norwich-based production and music company.
Music platform.
Music platform, better way of putting it. Oh, we've got rain off. It's going to rain. I have a feeling it's going to absolutely chuck it down in a second, so this might be brief. We are going to be chatting today about Stripped, about a fun event that you've got coming up, your great stuff you've done for the exhibition for us, because you've been the most generous of friends and taken up a lot of your time and sorting stuff out for us. So why don't you introduce yourself a little bit, kind of tell us who you are, what you do, why you're here, why you're in my garden.
Hello, I'm Priya. I'm the creator and producer of Stripped Sets. So we are a Norwich-based music platform, and we aim to platform up-and-coming musicians and artists and performers in Norwich, in and around Norwich, specifically focusing on BAME and queer individuals. We aim to produce live content and quality content, and we're just trying to be a really safe space for up-and-coming and fresh artists to come in and be experimental with their sound and engage with the music industry, because it can be a really daunting place for up-and-comings. And we just kind of want to take that industry standard pressure to conform away from music in our space and just allow artists to produce what they want to produce and do sets as long or as short as they want, and be kind of as expressive and free and open about themselves as they would like to be, without that kind of scary industry pressure, really.
That's good.
That's
good.
good.
That's good. That's horrible. Oh god, this is gonna go terribly. I can already feel it on myself.
Oh.
I'm not allowed to take the piss out of you.
No.
Professional today. So obviously, Stripped is your baby.
My baby, yeah.
Stripped is quite new and up and
Yeah.
coming. I remember speaking to you December, January time about setting Stripped up, and kind of you being like, Priya did not want to set Stripped up in this present time. She was very scared, but looking back now and kind of your opinions and the fears you have, which are understandable because setting up anything creative it's a big leap of faith.
Yeah.
Do you think that, obviously we are mid-pandemic, still, do you think the timing of it and kind of setting it up now at the end of your degree, kind of going forward into hopefully we can get jobs, kind of who knows, kind of setting it up now and I don't know, kind of just the timing, why now?
I've been producing and editing sessions for Livewire, 1350, the radio station at UEA, for about a year. And I was doing stay-at-home sessions for most of the pandemic, and I kind of just realised how, for up-and-coming artists especially, it's really, really difficult to be producing high-quality content, obviously during a pandemic, if you don't have access to equipment, studio space, a team and support. So that's kind of why I started to do it around when I did, so around December, January, because I was kind of able to provide that support and wanted to provide that support and equipment and everything like that for creatives. And I think it was a good time to do it because it's meant that as we come out of the pandemic, we've had more control over how fast and slow we have to put everything out. There's not been as much pressure because we can kind of take things slow with the studio space and the team and work like that, because everything's a lot slower moving when you're kind of at home more. So that's why we did it, and I'm glad we did it when we did.
Definitely. I think as well, from my perspective, the least musical person in the world, aside from my really good singing voice.
Awful.
It's so bad.
Horrendous.
I don't really it sounds wanky, but I'm an art historian, I'm an art history student. I'm not I hate it, but my obviously the creative arts is a broad term, it encompasses music, film production, art, photography, whatever, stage. For me, I kind of didn't really understand it when obviously we've spoken about music and we speak about music not in depth. We normally just sing driver's license at each other.
We do.
Walking around the library, which is
Yeah.
good. Olivia Rodrigo, best artist of our generation.
Absolutely. No, I will not be. No. Very much disagree.
I obviously have the perspective of it as like music production and like
Yeah.
your kind of platform as like a visual platform.
Yeah.
But do you think, would you classify it as a visual platform or an audio platform? Because obviously you produce, like you do your, Priya did a playlist to go alongside the exhibition and does curated and commissioned playlists for people, which is very fun. She's made some good playlists in the past. We have our drinking in the park playlist because we're teenagers. Do you think you would qualify Stripped as a visual or an audio or both or nothing or something else?
I think it's definitely both. So Charlie, my audio tech, he is incredible. He has worked with me for like a year and a half maybe on different projects, but he works so hard. I could not justify the work he does by saying it's a visual platform. It's very much audio based. It's all about the music really. But I think that in terms of visuals, that's a big part of the branding. But at the core of what we do is producing music and content to listen to. I think that people just prefer to watch it as well, which is why I'd say we were both. But
okay,
as much
cool.
emphasis on both.
Because
Kind of like the
she just wants to be, she's a Leo.
Such a
She
Leo.
wants to be centre of attention. I don't know why you weren't in shot. But the laptop's further in than it was last time.
Yeah.
So we've established it's not. We have the wonderful Charlie, who is your
do.
audio god. He obviously does a lot of your production, and you are. Are you? Would you class yourself as a producer? Do you think?
Yeah, producer of. Yes. Producer of content.
Yeah.
I don't really do anything audio wise. I attempt to, like I learn from Charlie when I can, but I don't produce anything audio wise. Visuals I do. I also have so our team videographer is Christy Laverick. She does all the videography. We love Chris. Yeah. So she does all the visuals in terms of on filming day and everything like that. But everything else I kind of produce. Yeah.
So do you think long term? Obviously, you have your team, and your team are kind of it's the three of you.
Yeah.
And when I pretend to, I'm the artistic consultant, but Priya doesn't let that happen.
Absolutely horrendous.
Do you think that long term you'd want to kind of not expand your expand your team, but also kind of like for you personally? Obviously, this is a space for you to kind of be creative and like show your creative practices. Do you think you would like to long term kind of pursue the like standardized music production and like audio, or do you think you'd rather kind of stick with the more visual audio platform?
100%. I want to get into music production and all of this sound stuff as well. I think as soon as my deadlines are up and I have a bit more time, that's definitely the next thing I'm going to do in terms of learning about audio, because I always kind of regret in my teen years, I always knew I wanted to go into music in some aspect. I regret not pursuing it then. And having that understanding of audio production, but I think that will come when I have less deadlines and just
final
kind of,
year is not destroying
it's not
you as much.
but that's definitely the next step. Charlie, bless him, I have expressed to him many times that I want to learn, and he made me like a little checklist of things to look for when editing audio, so that I can do, and he's just.
So it's kind of Stripped isn't just like a platform for up and coming artists. It's also a platform for like up and coming producers.
100%.
And like so you're like obviously Charlie and Christy were friends prior to Stripped.
Yeah.
But do you think? And I know you put up job stuff for like visuals and like you've used the plethora of amazing creative friends we have.
Yeah.
Do you think you will then continue to like not like train people, because I mean ideally you would, but like licensing and whatever, but
1,000%.
do you think that you would like to kind of like help grow the like community more?
That's a massive part of Stripped as well. So we kind of, as we were starting, we have a team of 3, Christy, me and Charlie, but we have a few more videographers or people interested in videography coming in to train me and Tristan, who is the he kind of runs the TV studio where we film, so we will be training 2 more people in videography skills so that they're on call, and I try to work with as many people within the community to advance their skills and work together and platform other creatives that aren't just performers. It's a massive part of it. I want it so Stripped should be a collective of individuals, and so I want to get as many people who want to learn or want to develop their skills or their interests to get involved, because it's a really good way to do it, because it's it's something that can just kind of grow as our team grows, and it can go in whatever direction. So that's
I think that's what I've really enjoyed about, obviously, we've spent a lot of time in the library crying about a deadline together,
100%.
but also talking about our own creative projects. So Priya's been alongside the whole organising the exhibition process with me messaging her at all hours, being like, how do I do this? What do I do now? And being just hating life. But do you think, what was my question?
Just wanted to vent that, really.
I think for me, it's very, what was I trying to say? Regroup. Need to regroup. My brain's just gone completely empty. Oh, dissertations, man, they kill you. Oh yeah, I remember. So thoughts. So it's not just like a passion project. That's the thing. Like Stripped, although it is like I've already said, it's your baby. Yeah. It's kind of not just like, I want to better my skills. I want to better my CV. Which, like, I'm not gonna lie, I've done that before. I've taken jobs. I've taken things to like be like, I'm bettering my CV. Yeah. But do you think that, although it is bettering like your CV and your professional like standing and kind of like the experience you have in the world of work, which is a terrifying concept, do you think that it's something to I mean, this could be like quite like a, oh my god, the future question, but like something to stay, like something you think that like even if you got a job working for like an amazing production company, do you think you'd still kind of want to like nurture Stripped as something that you can like not pass it on to someone else, but kind of have it as a platform that can keep continuing without you having to be so like deeply involved?
100%. I think because Stripped was born out of me kind of being aware, like within the Norwich music industry specifically, I was aware of how the industry worked and its downfalls for up and coming artists, and I wanted to be able to make a change and kind of have an impact within Norwich, to even to a small extent. So I think it was born out of wanting to platform up and coming artists, and I don't think that is going to change as I change. I think if anything, it will just grow with me, and I'll be able to do more for the communities I'm within, and just kind of extend it. And if it gets to a point where I pass it on to someone else, I pass it on, and that's amazing, and that's theirs, and it grows and it changes. I think because it was born out of an intent to better the Norwich music industry in terms of queer artists, BAME artists, and just being a completely safe space for up and coming artists. I think because we have that drive and that moral base, it will kind of stick, hopefully. Even because the whole point is to platform artists, so even if our artists then receive, I guess, kind of more notoriety or anything like that because of Stripped, then it will pass on like that. Yeah,
it's kind of not about like your success, it's about the success of those like involved.
Exactly. Well, I tell our artists before they come on or before we interact with them that Stripped is just here to support them. Like we are a space and we are a team and we are equipment for them to utilise how they want to. It's not about us in any way, it's about the artist and how they want to use that access to a studio and to high quality equipment and to the time that we give them, and they can use that and do with it what they want. We're just there as a kind of a stage, essentially.
And it's also really important to remember, for those who aren't fully aware of what Stripped is that it's not like you're charging people for this. It's not like there is any like financial gain. Like this is complete, like you're in the final year of your degree and this is completely off your own back. You're just like, I mean, neither of us are musicians by trade. I mean, you play guitar.
Like to differ.
You play guitar. You've sent me videos of you playing guitar, and that is all I need.
You've seen my cover of driver's license on
so
TikTok.
Perfect. TikTok, here we go. Priya has a world famous TikTok with her housemate Sav.
Oh, it's amazing.
Of their amazing singing.
Yeah.
Obviously, like it's a free. Like it sounds like it's not a service, but like it's a free. Like it's not, there's no like financial like imperative for it. Like you aren't. It's not. Like people aren't necessarily going to make money off it, but you're also like the artists aren't going to make money themselves, but you're also not making money off that.
Exactly.
Like it's like all like freelance, free giving, kind of like the generosity of like other artists and like of Tristan being like, yeah, you can use the studio and stuff like that. Like people like giving up their time, and like as annoying as it is, like free labour in the arts, which is a fun issue. I think it's quite interesting that you have chosen like to not. It sounds weird, but like sometimes the free labour comes for the benefit of the owner of the company or the founder of the company because they're still getting paid. Whereas you have kind of been like, no, this isn't what we're about.
Yeah, no, Stripped is the opposite of making money. We're just just want to be like a community space for those up and coming artists who need or want access to it, and to just kind of be creative. And I didn't want Strip to ever be about making money. I'd love to be able to cover my costs, but you know, that's not
covering costs as a whole. That's like
it's a whole issue, but it's fine. It's you know, I'm lucky enough to be surrounded by creatives who are willing to donate their time and their energy and their talents to platforming other creatives, and I think that's why Norwich is so important. Because the music industry within Norwich is just so nurturing and accepting of everyone, and everyone is willing to donate their skills and talents to an extent to platform others, which I think you kind of don't find everywhere. And I think that's why Stripped has the ability to do good things within Norwich.
I think it is doing good things. It's doing big things as well. I think big things. I hate us. Sometimes I think as well, it's quite easy to kind of, for me, when because obviously we're same field, different streams.
Yeah.
It's kind of easy to forget like the importance of the generosity of the people around us. Like, I asked Priya for a lot of favours for the exhibition and just for like general artistic life. But like, it's like I would do the same for you. 100%. So I think it's like, that's what I think is really good about Strip. Like, it's not just Strips like take. You are like giving back to the community you're within, and you are like with some of your artists that are new and had never performed before. Like, they are like, you're like being like, here you go. Like, exactly. This is you.
It really is just one big collaboration, Strip sets, which is why it's good. I think.
It is what's good. So kind of on the flip side of talking about your little passion project. The passion project makes it sound like you're a middle-aged woman.
Passion project. Me bleeding months and months of my
time and money.
Oh, no.
We won't discuss the financial burdens of owning your own company. We can kind of talk about your kind of like relationship with Art History Society.
Yeah.
Which is a fun one because it's a new one. So me and Priya have known of each other for a while, but only been friends.
This is the thing. So Molly remembers us first meeting in my first year.
Your first.
I have no recollection of it.
Yeah, we went for breakfast together. Doesn't remember it.
I don't remember it.
It's fine, you know. I'm heartbroken, but it's okay.
But I love you now.
Thank you. So I'd say we've probably been good friends since like November, December time. Yeah. So kind of, it's a newer friendship, but
it's so strong.
It's so strong. It's such a bond. And that was kind of at the time when society kind of was really pushing Art History Society, not society as a whole. Oh God, imagine, yes. Was pushing kind of the beginning of like the organisation of the exhibition and kind of like finalising like what we were fundraising for, the platforms we used, like blah blah blah. I'd already built the original website and then was building the exhibition website and all that fun. And I turned to Priya and was like, "Hello, Priya, my lovely, lovely artistic creative friend. Any chance you want to get involved?" And I think that was quite beneficial for our friendship because we have spoken so much about our own personal projects, whether it be me writing or you producing or whatever. Glitter. Do you think? So I've commissioned you, which I hate saying. The Art History Society has made a request of Priya to do a playlist for it. You did two playlists for the
Sam.
Sam, we love you.
Yeah, we miss and love you. That was. What were we talking about?
Sorry, distracted by Sam. So I asked if you could do a curated playlist, and you. I don't like to boost her ego, Leo energy already, but she has very good taste in music.
Yes. Yeah.
They couldn't see that. That was off camera.
Oh yeah, true. They can.
Instagram.
Yeah.
I hate you.
My favourite.
This is a professional interview, please. This is tied to the university. We have to be responsible. So I asked you to make a playlist. You and Christy made a playlist for us. I'd say February time.
February, yeah.
Feb time. Just before the exhibition opened, kind of not discussing. I was like, can you make? Obviously, we're not allowed in art galleries at the moment. Back to the whole, the world has gone to shit situation. I asked if you could make a playlist so it was like you were walking around the exhibition. It is linked on the website, so you should look at the website, and it's also on our Spotify because Society now has a Spotify.
Oh wow.
Wow, I know, we're creatives. I just kind of wanted to know. I've listened to that playlist quite a lot. Not to be like,
You're
listen.
obsessed
It's
with
good. I'm obsessed with you, Priya. I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, what's your reason? Like, I mean, I don't actually have the exact songs that are on there.
No, neither do I.
But
I think I remember. I think it was.
there's quite a lot of Green Tea Peng.
Yeah.
Arlo Parks, who Priya is in love with.
Yeah.
Kind of, you're like, why, when you were choosing, I'm gonna sneeze.
Bless you. Lemons.
Oh, when?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Magic.
When you were kind of curating the playlist, and I kind of was like, make it as if you're walking around the like online exhibition. Kind of like, where would like your thought processes kind of behind
Yes.
that? Because
So-
you've done a lot of stuff for the exhibition, which we can
Yeah.
go on to, but also this is kind of my favourite bit of what you've
I think making the playlist, I very much wanted to create a variety of sounds and a variety of songs that people could engage with and relate to on different levels. And I didn't want to put anything too overpowering that you would have to think about or be overly emotionally invested in, but I wanted to allow songs. So, for example, Green Tea Peng, her song Downers, provides a really psychedelic kind of trip within her songs. I think allow you to engage with art in the same way. I think that I was very much listening to the beats and the flows and all the rhythms and especially the bridges and understanding how people could go from one piece of art to another and engage with similar mindsets from the songs but can take completely different perspectives. So I think artists like Arlo Parks, for example, provide a very kind of like a sound that you don't have to think about overly, but it's more kind of allowing of different expressions, and because all songs can be interpreted in different ways. And I think I found it interesting in looking at, so I was looking at the art that the canvas that we did, the exhibition, while I made the playlist, and thinking about how each square kind of provided a different genre almost, and I wanted to entail different genres and different understandings of music in with each piece, and just allow people to kind of just, I don't know, just be in different mindsets throughout the playlist and then apply that to the different pieces of art as well.
So kind of, okay. So it's like music is obviously a very emotional thing.
Yeah.
And when you tie that into like the visual side of it, because you are like stripped as a visual platform, but also you are a very visual person in your work. Do you view, when you were making the playlist, obviously you said that you were like looking at the canvas that we made. You made. I did a square.
You did a square.
I did a square about my fun hair dye journey in lockdown.
Yeah.
Missing the box bleach pink hair bob.
Love it.
So good. I should never doing that again.
Should I look at what was on the playlist?
Yeah.
I can pinpoint each song.
Do you think that could be a deep question? Music influences art influences music. Which do you think is more kind of like apparent, not just in that exhibition, but kind of as a whole?
You sound like Lana Del Rey. Life imitates art.
Oh my god. You're gonna start singing Chemtrails Over the Country Club.
Maybe.
So
I think the question. Oh, what was the question?
Music influencing art or art influencing music, or whether
Both.
it's
100%.
works both ways.
100% both. I think that you can look at a piece of art and depending on what you're listening to, have a completely different interpretation. I think, but you can go the other way. I think that the art you're looking at can definitely influence what you're hearing. But I think that those visuals that you produce when you're listening to songs very much kind of relate to your own experiences. So I think if you're looking at a piece of art that has, I don't know, maybe water based, and you're kind of feeling a bear. I love bears. I think it just becomes like a part, something that you create that relatability for yourself. So I think looking at art can definitely influence the visuals and therefore how you're interpreting a song. Cool. So yeah, Tash Sultana. Yeah.
So I think it's quite interesting because when I go around art galleries, cannot, like, it has to be silent. Like, I'm very much of the mindset that like I'm looking at the artwork, but then when I'm listening to music, I'm very much like, that's like, I mean, I listen to like very loud music whilst writing essays, so it's probably not beneficial for my lifestyle. But I think for me, obviously they do influence one another, and you can always find like similarities to music and like whatever, and be like, this painting reminds me of this song reminds me of this. for me, when I'm actually like within an exhibition space, and obviously that has been a while.
Yeah.
The last exhibition I went to was with you,
Oh,
actually.
yeah,
The
that
Henry
was a-
Moore exhibition
that
at the
was a
Sainsbury's
good
Centre. It's a
one.
really good exhibition.
Yeah.
If it's still on, get down to it. It's very good. It's free for UEA students, and anyway students and alumni. Like we had fun because I was with someone, but if
Yeah.
that was like just me going on my own, I would be very much like, I am looking, I am consuming. This is all I'm like focusing
Yeah.
on now. Whereas if I had music alongside that, I'd kind of be a bit like,
Yeah.
because the music doesn't like. It's nice when the music like with your playlist, it's curated. It's like it goes along with the artwork that there
Yeah.
was. But I think sometimes it's so chaotic because you're thinking so. I'm a really visual learner.
Yeah.
Like, like my whole mind is like consumed when I'm looking at. It sounds really stupid, but like my whole like brain waves are like
Yeah.
painting, photo. But then, so if you add, it kind of feels like cluttered in my brain.
Yeah.
If you get
no,
what I mean.
I get that. I think because I'm not as much of an art lover as you.
No, as much as you try to be an art historian.
I do try.
Too many photos on Priya's Instagram of her holding my textbooks up.
Just see the vibe.
Just for the vibe.
Just the vibe. I think for me, music is definitely the most important thing to me and the most emotional thing to me as well. I think a song can take me back to really specific points, and I think that when I'm engaging with like visuals, like at the exhibition, for example, I think I'd struggle to maybe have them alongside each other and not have them impact.
Okay.
So I think that I was thinking about that a lot in curating the playlist as well. Like I think people have such key memories associated to music, and when you're looking at art, it's so subjective anyway. To have all of that kind of going on at the same time could either be an amazing thing for someone, or could be a really challenging thing in kind of getting the most out of the art they're presented with.
Okay. Interesting.
We're interesting.
Difference in thought. I think it's quite interesting as well, speaking to, because obviously the society have been talking to lots of people, mainly my friends who I have bullied into doing favours for me.
Friends.
Oh my, sorry, we should have a ring. Is it your new one?
No, it's not my stripped sets ring.
Merchandise coming soon.
We'll find
We'll
out
look for
after.
it a bit.
We'll look for it.
It's just in the weeds
the
in my
shrubbery.
garden.
Shrubbery. Good.
Um, but obviously, so a lot of the people that have done takeovers and kind of events and stuff for us have been friends of mine, because I have lovely, lovely friends who are just too kind and very good at dealing with my last minute tendencies. I think it's been really interesting speaking to like you and Christy, and kind of, but then talking to people like Amali, who I did the last talk with, about our different visual approaches to art, because obviously we have different. I don't want to say it makes me sound like an arsehole. I'm an art history student.
Are you? I literally had no idea.
Yeah, but you are a media. Are you media and film?
Yeah, media. Just
Media. So you are like way more like you are like inherently influenced by like production and making,
Yeah.
whereas mine is just like the theory side of it. So
I
I
mean,
think it's
yeah,
been
yeah.
isn't like primarily your
Primarily, yeah.
and
And what
obviously
I
you have done
do,
your essays and
yeah.
stuff, like, and you have done writing and you have done journals and whatever, but I think it's quite interesting to kind of see like the parallels and like, but also like the differences in how we have all reacted and interacted with art. And
Yeah.
like, say with your takeover, you were the first takeover, weren't you?
Maybe, was that?
Yeah, you were the first takeover. So Priya did one of our takeovers early on. You can see that on our Instagram highlights. It's Priya chatting in her beautiful
Having
garden
fun
at
in
home.
the sun with that one.
Yeah,
That
it
was
was like
great.
raining all day. I did mine, and mine was last week.
No, that's
What was I saying? Oh yeah. Like we all have different interactions with
yeah.
kind of visual media, and like visual media is such a broad term in itself. But when you actually like when we have conversations about it, we have such differing opinions.
Yeah.
Not in the sense that like we disagree, but kind of like different like ways of approaching similar ideas.
Yeah.
Like I will.
The bear.
The bear will be brought up later. The bear is still a point of conflict. Like I approach it like yes, I did art like at school up until like year 13, and like I still like do art. My CV says I'm a graphic designer, which is a lie.
God.
My CV also says I work for stripped sets, which is also a lie.
Right, can I tell the story really quickly?
No.
Let me tell it. Basically, what happened was, I was like talking about arranging something else for stripped. I was like, Mel, could you like give me a hand? You know, do me a favour, help me make some decisions. The next thing I know, she's gone home and she sends me a screenshot of her LinkedIn, and she's written artistic. What was it? Artistic consultant to strip.
But this is also going out into the world, so it has to be true.
So she is, in fact, the artistic consultant for stripped
and
sets.
administrative assistant.
You have done nothing.
I was doing what my diss was due today. I finished my dissertation about 6 hours ago.
You can live up to that title now, if you want the title.
Yeah, I literally submitted my dissertation 6 hours ago. Leave me be. No, so what was I talking about?
I don't know.
You've just that's just ruined my dream. Bullying. So we have obviously just like, we're talking about different directions. So like I come at it from like an art history perspective. Please don't roll your eyes at that. It's my degree. I'm doing a master's in it.
It's also art history society.
It's also you are part of art history society.
I respect all of you, just not money.
She's never welcome back. But so obviously we both did individual takeovers and went about it in such different ways. Mine was really focused on, I mean, it was meant to be focused on me doing my dissertation. I did my dissertation, like I said, I submitted it today. But also was to do with my writing with Maud, whereas yours was kind of, like, we did it was very similar, like, visually, we both, like, chatted, like, blah, blah, but I think we came across the idea of like the extraordinary everyday within our days in our takeovers very differently.
Oh, definitely.
Like I spent my day in the library writing essays and writing trying to write an article for Maud, unsuccessfully, but nearly done. Whereas you were producing and editing and kind of like is scouting the right word? You were kind of like looking at new artists and stuff. So kind of yours is, I think mine's quite insular. Yeah, no, so and you just can't really, rain.
Very much part of the active production, active searching and active listening is 100% what I spend most of my time doing. It's just like listening to new music and new artists, and such a big part of it, and just listening to Katy Perrin's shows, BBC Intro.
Yeah, shout out to Katy Perrin.
Shout out to Katy Perrin. Legend.
But
lovely.
Lovely gal. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's quite interesting to kind of that balance, because it's one exhibition, but it's also like that was the whole point. I think that was kind of like our idea behind it, like everybody having like a different approach to it.
Such a big collaboration.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's been really fun. It's
really
been
good.
Exhausting. This is our last week of events. Just to put it out there, we have this and then one more thing. But I think it's like the fact that we, as like the committee and as a society, which sounds really stupid because it's a community exhibition, have all come at in such different ways, because most of us have submitted artworks and like done different writing and stuff for it. Like from the fact that within the committee, which is 9 of us, and within the organisational team, which is about 15 of us, we had such different approaches to the idea, and like coming to that point of decision of like what the final theme was so like not difficult, but kind of so much of like a discussion that when you involve and the other creators and other like organisations, it's quite interesting to see, like, because everyone kind of like aligns with the theme, but also has their like interpretation is so important.
Oh, 100%. It's like the canvas.
Oh, we should talk about the canvas. It's actually in the living room. I could get Becky to go and get it. No, it's on the website. You can get it on the website.
It's very big.
It is. It's on our mantelpiece. Yeah. It's massive.
Yeah. So should I talk about the canvas?
Talk about the canvas. This was Priya's contribution to the actual like. Oh no, you did 2 things for the exhibition. You wrote a poem as well.
Oh no, yeah.
We won't talk about the poem.
I'm not very confident with my poetry yet. You can read it.
It's on the website. It's published.
But the canvas. So basically, Christy and I decided, because we both wanted to contribute to the exhibition for art history, and we thought it'd be a really fun idea to basically just buy a massive canvas and some like just cheap art equipment like pens, pencils, paints, following the theme of lockdown, we wanted to kind of collaborate with other people and create, rather than just mine and Christy's perspective of lockdown and COVID and just day-to-day life within that, we wanted to allow multiple people to have their own voice and their own take. So we kind of set out maybe 20 squares, squared out on the canvas, and we handed it to people, COVID securely 100%, and we let them within that square produce their own piece of art that followed the brief for themselves. So it wasn't just mine and Christie's lockdown, it was a collection of 20 different people's perspectives put into one canvas. So then you can kind of see side by side all of the different takes, 20 different takes of lockdown, and within the same community as well. So you can kind of see how different and similar everyone's lives are next to each other, and you know.
I think it was really interesting to see, because obviously, like you said, it was only 20 people, but it was majority students and like majority people within, like, it was probably all pretty much like NR2 to NR4 kind of. It was just like, it was like a freeze frame of like the community we are a part of. I think it was really nice to kind of see how like people interacted with the idea of having like a square on like a collaborative canvas, but also kind of seeing how they, even though there was already like a theme of the exhibition, there was like a secondary theme with your work. So like there was the Extraordinary Everyday, which is the title of the exhibition and kind of like the theme behind the exhibition, but then there was also the community canvas. And I think it was really interesting to see like they kind of get like more like narrowed down, and we see like that people did different things. I did my hair, as in there was my square was, I spent so long trying to make hair look like hair. It's my least favourite thing to paint in the world. I had to do it for A-level art, and it made me cry.
Did you do art?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I did art at A-level. Becky Self, 100% GCSE art.
That's ridiculous.
She's one of our
I also
photographers.
don't believe it.
She's also sat watching us film this. It's quite interesting because the start of when lockdown happened, I had long bleach blonde hair.
Crazy.
Which is so different from what my hair is now.
I didn't even know you.
You've never known me blonde, no. And then, fly. And now obviously I've got short, grown out mullet that Priya got.
I did.
With still bits of
Page Boy vibes.
Terrible blonde. Page Boy, Princess Diana. Not Hugh Jackman. What's he called? From...
I get Prince Charming vibes from...
No, from Notting Hill. Thank you. From Notting Hill. Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
I'm told I look like Hugh Grant. But I've kind of catalogued my hair journey, which sounds really weird, but it was just bars of like colour and length and whatever.
I liked it.
But then there were people like you that represented like love and relationships, and then there was people like Evie, who represented like things she'd learned over. So like Evie, who is one of the reason me and Priya are friends, actually.
Shout out to Evie.
My housemate is an ecologist, and she drew anatomical mushrooms that she had like learnt about and like gone foraging for in lockdown. So it was quite interesting to see like the different, like the things that people viewed as important.
That was exactly what I wanted to happen. We had so many different aspects of culture and life into one canvas. Like people did music, and people did their own art and poems, and just loads of different stuff, and it was amazing because every time we'd get the canvas back, it would have something else added. So it was really nice to see it kind of grow and come together, and then see how other people's squares influenced other people, and how it was just the best thing.
I think as well, because obviously, so a lot of my house did it. 4 of us did Connor. Yeah, 4 of us did it from my house. I think
Connor did it.
I think 3 or 4 of us did it from my house, and we all sat down and kind of like did it together. And I think obviously you aimed for it to be a community piece of work, but once you like gave it to a household, I think it was quite nice to kind of see their like, it just felt like as a whole, like you were getting like a snapshot of like a whole.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's individual people, but it is also a whole piece of artwork.
So it's similar with Kez and Christy as well.
Yeah.
Because we did a couple of squares together, and they kind of represented their same journey a little bit together on the canvas, which was nice. I think it was really interesting because we would kind of come together and say, oh, I'm gonna paint about this, or I'm gonna draw about this, and it was the same experience, but the way we'd portray it on the canvas was completely different.
Yeah.
Which was really interesting to see.
It's back to the whole idea of different differing interpretations as well.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot to mention like one of the big things me and Christy said at the beginning of doing it is that we felt like during lockdown we kind of reverted back to getting joy from like our childhood activities. So like painting, drawing, and colouring, and we were like, okay, if we're feeling like this, I'm sure other people are feeling like this and would want to. Because lockdown number one, I spent most of my time just literally just painting and drawing and just
I spent most of lockdown number one doing deadlines.
Good. I did not. I built a pool actually in lockdown number one.
You did build a pool.
I know, so I should have drawn that pool.
You should have drawn the pool.
Yeah.
One of the bricks that you guys painted is holding my laptop or holding my phone up.
Good lockdown number one vibes.
Connie, the artiste.
Yeah.
Cool. I think you should look for the canvas because you can see all the different on the website. It's probably about halfway down the exhibition because alphabetical order, and it kind of is like we've described. It is a snapshot of lots of people's lives, which is quite interesting to see. Like the canvas is huge. Like I cannot tell you, it takes up like as much of this screen. Like perspective wise, like me and Priya, it's bigger than this.
It is big.
But it's obviously a photo on a website, so if you're on your phone, it doesn't look that big, and it kind of messes with the scale. It kind of seems more not blurred, but kind of like more of like a whole thing on a screen.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at it on our mantelpiece, it's
Come
just,
over.
come over. You're welcome. I'm not gonna give you my address. It's quite interesting to see kind of like the change in like the whole and the separate.
Definitely.
Kind of going on from the exhibition a bit and ideas on intervention. That's not right. That's my dissertation.
That's what you need by the sounds of it.
God, my brain is just stuck on dissertation. That's what 4 hours sleep does to you boys. What was I talking? I'm so tired. With the canvas, what was I talking about? Different approaches to artworks, anything. So, as we've said, with Stripped, and with uni, and with the exhibition, and just with art in general, and visual media in general, there will always be different intentions and approaches to it. Do you think that... I'm going to refer to my dissertation, actually. Do you think that practices need to be kept separate, or the narratives, I used narrative 50 times in my 10,000 word dissertation, the narratives that the artworks that you create for Stripped or for society or for yourself kind of overlap, or should be like categorized as separate, or do you think that your visual, like your presentation of visual media and your like role as a creative is kind of one entity even under like the different brands and kind of like branches of work you do, because you've done work with so many different production companies and like all arts organizations and stuff, especially in recent months. I think as a whole I think that everything I create should be under the kind of impression that that's who I am, and I put myself into everything I create. Don't. It's so embarrassing. She's a Surrey horse
No,
voice.
Okay, I was like 13.
You were
so
like
can
17.
we drop it? I was not. I was.
Carry on.
No, I think I try to put myself into everything, and but I also think that I channel different parts of myself into different things. Massively. Like who I am on the Strip Sets production is completely different to who I am in creating art history stuff, because I think I definitely try to channel those different parts of creativity into different things. It does overlap all the time, and I love that, but I think essentially everything creative that I do is a form of therapy in some ways, in a sense that I'm kind of creating from within and putting myself out there. And so I think I love the idea that everything is connected to me and connected by me, but I also love the idea of people interpreting everything I do completely differently. So I think I find it really interesting engaging with audiences of texts I produce. Oh, that was so essay. So if people, for example, the people who watch Strip Sets or engage with Strip Sets would view everything completely differently depending on what I was putting out. So the canvas, people would see it differently, and it's just, I like engaging with different audiences and providing different parts of myself.
She actually has depth.
To different people. I really enjoy it. It's fun.
I think as well, in seeing your practice as a producer compared to like how you like create stuff for fun, like you do amazing edits and kind of like visual media, visual graphic design. She's a whiz on Photoshop. I think it's quite interesting to see how there is kind of like a running theme of your like how you present yourself, like your visual aesthetic is quite not consistent, but there is like ties between it all, but also you don't let that limit where you go with your work. Like you kind of can like you have your aesthetic choices, but you also are like, oh, I'll push it this way a bit just for this reason, or I will like try and fit into this category of, or like I'll align to this spec.
I think it's interesting being in the time of my life where I am now. I'm in a very developmental stage, and I'm really enjoying kind of seeing how that embodies within my creativity. I think I go through stages and developmental stages of who I am and what I want to produce and what I want to be putting out and what my style is in all aspects, and I think that definitely comes out in what I create, which is a lot of fun because I have all of the freedom to do so. I think I used to be kind of someone who was like, well, if I'm not required or if no one's asked me to produce media or be creative, then I don't feel comfortable doing so. But now, because I create art and design and everything for myself, majoritively aside from stripped, I think I found it a lot easier to be more experimental. I think, definitely. I think also poetry in recent I've never really been into writing poetry. I love poetry and reading poetry and literature, but I think in starting to write and show other people my poems, not that I think that like I'm not really into it, but I think even just putting that, like stepping out of my comfort
It's like the vulnerability.
Zone, it's the most vulnerable I've ever felt, is even just showing Molly, who's one of my best friends, like a poem.
That's cute.
I think that's really pushed me.
Oh, my phone's about to die.
Yet. Oh, that's good.
It just froze really zoomed in on Priya's face on
face.
Instagram. I really hope that the world saw that.
But yeah, I think it's about, I definitely try to be as vulnerable and push myself out of my comfort zones at all times, which is really anxiety inducing, but it's so much fun.
It's so beneficial for like growth as well. I found, like, for me, and I think you're quite similar in this, that you're so hypercritical of everything I produce. So obviously I'm no level of owning my own business like Priya, but I write for Maud and I do stuff with Eve, and I've sent off writing samples to different organisations and whatever, and do all the society stuff and run of this. But I think it's so important to kind of like let yourself be in that space of vulnerability, because your creative practice just won't expand otherwise. And I think it's really it's hard to make that leap.
The more vulnerable I feel, the more I feel like I'm growing. I think it's
about growth as well. Like, as much as you're making something, like, you're growing from that. Like, I look back on stuff like a year ago and I'm just like, this is shit. But then I'll be like, oh, actually.
Oh, like from the first set I produced for Livewire, live sessions. Looking back at that now, which was, I guess, maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I like get the ick, because I'm like, I would have done that so differently, but at the same time, like, I've grown from that, and you know, I wouldn't be where I am without doing those sets. And I think
it's also nice to look back on that as well and see like how much you grow. And I think that's quite difficult. Obviously, as university students, we are expected to tick boxes and hit certain markers and whatever, and like get a grade that is good enough, which is just shit. It's just shit. I think it's quite nice to have my housemate just brought tea out
for herself.
For herself, not for us. Been distracted. Like, it's nice to have that space to be completely, utterly free in creativity and free in expression, because like with both of our subjects, it's more freeing and opinionated than a science, than a lot of. The housemate behind the camera is a natural science student.
Ooh, you poor soul.
But we, like, even though we have creative liberties and whatever in our writing and in our academic careers, which I hate saying, Careers are not an option. This is why you do masters. I think it's quite nice to have like a space where the parameters of grades and academics and like success within the university space isn't there.
Definitely. I think creativity is an outlet, and it's amazing. Should be celebrated all of the time. But I think it's really difficult.
The arts.
Fund the arts.
Fund
Please.
the arts.
Send help.
Please send help. Send help.
Yeah.
We actually don't have much time left. We're on 50 minutes already. Which has gone quite rapidly. Is there anything you would like to kind of end on? Anything you want to promote?
Yeah.
She made a request to promote some things before we started.
No, I got some fun stuff.
So, Priya, you've got some actually like really. This was really, really exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Stuff coming up in the next. Everything is about to die.
Okay, I'm gonna go really quick. Okay,
so Priya's got exciting things coming up.
Yeah.
My phone's on 5%. We're gonna have to let her.
To start with, we have strip sets merch. So we have. I'm gonna show you. I don't know where to. Right, I'll start with the laptop. Ah, that was so bad. So we have an NR signet ring. So NR for Norwich.
Oh my god, did you say you were a video producer?
I would hope not. So these are on sale now. They are pre-made to order. DM stripped account, £40. If you want to buy them, they're really good quality. All the money goes to Mia, who is a creator of the rings. She is a local artist in Norwich, and she's amazing. She's making jewellery, so all the money we make from those goes straight to Mia.
I have mine on order. I'm really excited.
Yes, absolutely. So get your.
It's my dissertation treat to myself.
Yeah. And secondly, so we have the first ever Strip Sets live event at Voodoo Daddy's, 25th of June. Acts and everything will be released, I think, tonight actually, as well as tickets. So it's £3 advance tickets and then £5 on the door. And the reason that we are charging is so that I can pay my artists, because we're all about supporting local music, you know. So if you want to come and see some live music, we'll be having Kitty Perrin, Gail, and led by her, who was featured on Strip Sets, the second set we put out. So if you want to see some incredible creatives,
so excited for it,
head over to the Strip Sets Instagram account, and I'll have the link and everything up tonight to buy tickets. So hopefully I see you guys all at Voodoo Daddy's, 25th of June.
That's so exciting.
I'm
That's
so
so
excited.
soon. That's 2 months away.
Oh my god.
So much planning to do, so much artistic consultancy for me to do.
Oh.
So you obviously have that coming up, which is
Yes.
fun, and you have your merchandise.
Mhm.
What can we see next for Strip Sets? Do we have any? Are we allowed any? Are Art History Society allowed any
No.
sneak previews?
I would give them to you if I had them. No, so basically we are, whilst my team and I are
finishing
the
year.
deadlines, we are currently in stages of planning our next sets, but we have a lot of artists to get through in the coming months. So just stay tuned. All the updates of what we're producing and what we're putting out will be on the Instagram and social medias. So if you do want to kind of get involved with Stripped as a musician or anything in any way, then please reach out to us.
She needs a real artistic consultant, and
I
not
really
just
do.
me saying I'm the
ridiculous.
consultant.
No, but yeah, so we have some things coming up. Yeah, it's going to be good.
It will be good. I'm really excited for you, and it's summer soon, so that means more events, more
sets, more fun
everything.
stuff.
All of Stripped's social media and stuff is tagged all over the society accounts, because Priya did a takeover and has done this and blah and blah. But it'll be tagged. Everything will be tagged underneath the videos that will be on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We now have a YouTube account that I made, which is quite fun. Leaving the new leaving the new committee too many accounts to deal with. You're awful. But thank you so much for joining us. Sorry, it was a bit chaotic. Train of thought was not
what happens
always
when you
there.
collab with your friends. Mel.
It's just not. What was my friend lab? Oh. He said flirt. I was like, oh no, not my type. Thank you.
It's just like not true. I don't know who you're talking
Thank you,
Christmas Day.
Priya, you actually. Thank you. Okay, this has now got to a point where it's really unprofessional. So thank you so much. We have an event on the 2nd. As our exhibition social as a thank you, kind of drinks, chat, natter with committee and the events organisation team, and gonna try and rope in the likes of Miss Oades and Christy and some of our takeover team to join that. It'll just be drinks, chat, a little bit of a catch up with everybody. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a fun 55 minutes of us chatting in my garden, getting rained on, but it's been great. Thank you so much again. Please don't forget to donate to the Just Giving. We are still raising money for St Martin's Norfolk, which is an incredible charity that supports the homeless communities of Norwich in re-establishing them within the community, within jobs and housing and all that. But yeah, so thank you. Thank you to Priya. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
It's alright, we get to have dinner now.
Yes.
Bye.